Alright, today I'm taking on the big task. I don't know if it's a huge task, but I'm going to take on the task of going over my Blu-ray collection. All that stuff is behind me. This is roughly probably about 50% of my movies. This is actually all my DVDs behind me. That'll be another video. I'm going to do my DVD collection. I would say it's pretty mixed. I say a lot of my collection is probably like 50-50 to Blu-rays and DVDs. There's a lot of stuff I want to upgrade. So I'll definitely be going over that in a lot of my DVD where I'm just like, I have it, I own it, but I want to definitely get a lot better quality copy of it. But yeah, I'll show some B-roll of kind of how my setup is, and then we'll just dive right into it, okay? Alright, so we got the first stack here. So these are directors. These are some of my favorite directors. I only have like a few of their releases, so my other one is kind of a lot more of completed collections of filmographies. Also my 4Ks, I already went over those. I don't really have that many, so I'm just gonna leave that to that video. Won't really overdo it because I don't really need to talk about those movies again. Alright, first off the stack, Holy Mountain. Fucking awesome movie. Really want to get the 4K of this movie. Excellent film. Okay release, has like a director's commentary, which is pretty good. This is one of my other favorite films, The Grand Budapest Hotel, Wes Anderson. Excellent movie. Love the art direction, love everything about this movie, the characters, the story, just everything about this movie. The music is brilliant. This movie just is so good. Also is great children's movie, Phantasm Mr. Frost, but this is like another one of those like children's movies that hit you deep in the heart. It is a children's movie, but it's also just as much a movie for adults or for people. I watched this as a teenager and absolutely loved it. This film is really good, really connects with you, is kind of a dark story in a lot of ways. And I think a lot of Wes Anderson, he kind of goes over a lot of themes of guilt and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that film is absolutely brilliant. The Godfather trilogy, I think they have a 4K of The Godfather. They must. Don't know if I'm going to get it yet. Haven't watched the third one. Love the first and second one. And yeah. Okay, next we're going into, I only have 2 of his movies on Blu-ray. This is going into my Woody Allen section. I do really enjoy his movies. I think he has he's a brilliant writer and director. Maybe a shitty guy, what about it? But no, this is a great movie. I enjoyed it. Actually, I don't know if I would say this is a great movie. This is a good movie. It looks a lot better than it should be, and it was the first Woody Allen movie I've ever seen. Next is Blue Jasmine. I think this is a great film. This is a brilliantly written film. Some amazing performances. It's kind of hard to see because it's like an all-white cover, so I'm not going to pick it up on the camera. But no, this is a brilliant film. Kate Blanchett is amazing in it and really connected with me. Really do want to do a video on this, but I want to spend more time on it. I want to actually kind of do a little bit of writing or do a lot more editing on this type of review. This is a 4K I forgot to show. This is the They Live Steelbook. Got this for $30. It was used. Thought it was really cool. The 4K looked absolutely brilliant. Looked so good. Love this movie. Really fun. Like critique of capitalism, horror movie-ish. John Carpenter, really good. Roddy Pied Piper, fucking amazing in this movie. And yeah, I think there's so much interesting things to kind of gauge from it. I don't think it's like the deepest film in a lot of ways. I think a lot of people it's an introduction to a lot of like capitalism and consumerism and things like that. And I think that is smart, but it's really not like insanely deep into it. But it definitely does portray an interesting idea, especially when he's looking at like the magazines and it's all telling you to consume, reproduce, all that shit. Pretty good. This is also another one of the greatest films of all time. One of my favorite films of all time. Really one of those films that gets you into cinema, especially at a young age. This is, to me, a must-watch. If you're like, it's amazing how many adults I ask who have not seen this movie. This is brilliant. This is why film is amazing. Connect with so many people. We probably wouldn't have so many great directors if it wasn't for this film. David Lynch would be a big one. So, really great film. This honestly might be my worst Blu-ray in my collection. I love this movie. This was one of my favorite movies. I rewatched it semi-recently, but I realized how crappy, because I haven't seen it on Blu-ray. This really sucks. It has no even title card. It has no subtitles. It has only one soundtrack or volume track. This, I want to get the 4K. I want to upgrade this. This is a great movie. One of the great, it really brought in the world. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and Ron Williams, I think, got his first Oscar from this film. Or I think he might have gotten that for Good Morning Vietnam, but This is a great film. Shitty ass. This film, what a fucking movie. This is great. Robert Eggers is probably one of the best visionary directors of our time. Watched this film back when it was in theaters. Thought it was such a cool, unique experience. I thought that interesting. The aspect ratio was really great. The look of the camera, the black and white, the strange, absurd scenes. I remember the first time I watched it, I really didn't get it, or I didn't really enjoy it. But now on, I've watched this movie about 3 times now, and it keeps getting better with every rewatch. Some of the greatest character performances by both of them here. Definitely Fortnite. Okay. Next, might be one of the best animated films of all time, Spirited Away. Fucking brilliant. There's nothing you can really say about Studio Ghibli that has not been said before. The Walt Disney of Japan, except he's actually a brilliant fucking guy and not some fucking, I don't want to get into Walt Disney, but his character has been, that's all PR. The Walt Disney you believe is a well-oiled PR machine, but Studio Ghibli seems to be a lot more of a brilliant director, in my opinion, and has created some of the most beautiful. I haven't seen all their work. I really do. I know that's one of my biggest sins, that I haven't seen everything that they have, but I'm pumped to see it all. So I'm glad it'll be all fresh and everything like that. And this is really good. Waited too long to see this movie. Actually, I own this on VHS, but really glad I went out and finally watched it. Next is Us. I think I've seen this film 2 times. Watched it in theaters. I was really hyped for this movie. I was expecting this to be amazing. I would say it's good. I didn't think it was amazing. Tim Heidecker is in this movie, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I think the concept, maybe it had to do with the edit of the film. The concept was interesting, but I don't think it was very well executed within this film. And it really kind of held it back from being another great Jordan Peele movie. And we'll get into this one. This is obviously a great, excellent film. The first time I watched it, definitely didn't get it. I was too young for it. I was not very well educated on a lot of the subjects that this film gets into. So I just kind of was like, I was expecting a horror movie. And so I was like, that wasn't very scary. But rewatching it, I think I've seen this about 2 or 3 times now. And yeah, it gets better every time. Love everything in this movie. The direction. It's definitely such a very well-paced film. And really kind of gets its ideas, especially a lot better than Us, executed and make it a little more digestible and understandable. And yeah, I would have voted for Obama a 3rd time if I could have. Alright, Shawshank Redemption. This is a film I really do need to rewatch. It'd be probably really cool 4K rewatch. Definitely an interesting film that I think has compelled a lot of people for basically 30 years it's come out. Interestingly enough, this was a flop. So it really just shows you how stupid a lot of the movie-going audiences. I don't know. I'm catching strays in the movie audience. This movie didn't do very well, but I remember this was one of my first Blu-rays I ever got. Like, I remember first getting into collecting Blu-ray. That would have been 10 years ago, 2014, 2015. And this was one of the movies I was like, I have to get it. And I watched it, loved it, seen it a few times. Like, this is also great, like, TV. If it's on TV, you have to watch it kind of movie. But having not seen it in probably 5 or 6 years, which is bad. I know it's a classic, and I loved it. I definitely enjoyed it when I watched it. So, want to see it. Also, Tim Robbins is really great in that film. Next, what an awesome film. The only film that I know that is, the soundtrack is done by Cat Stevens. So, definitely a unique film. Super dark, Hal Ashbury. This was a recommendation from Mike, and I absolutely love this film. Super dark comedy. Really wonder, I might rewatch this potentially today. I kind of, now just talking about it makes me want to watch it. But yeah, really dark comedy. Deals with a lot of different things. Depression, suicide, kind of finding your meaning in life, finding your purpose in life. And yeah, this is just such a good film, and especially the Ruth Gordon is probably one of the best performances I've seen in film. This is another one of my favorites, Cool Hand Luke. This is a film I've only seen, I only saw it actually for the first time over the summer, but this is a film that really got me a lot more interested in watching a lot more older film. I do love the 70s and stuff like that, but I don't really watch much stuff before the 60s really. And so this kind, and I know this is, this is a 60s film, so it's probably not a great example, but getting into this film led me to watching a lot more older stuff on the waterfront, which is coming in soon. I'm really pumped I'm having the Criterion come in soon. On the Waterfront, Streetcar Named Desire, East of Eden, all those great classic, and I still have a lot of them that I still need to see. But this is one that really got into. This is another prison movie, I guess, kind of in the vein of Shawshank. But no, this is a brilliant movie. Paul Newman, I love that guy. I kind of have a man crush on him, to be honest with you. Next, this is easily my favorite trilogy, and that is the Bourne trilogy. I think all these films are brilliant fucking action movies that is a must-watch for anyone who enjoys action movies or just enjoys movies. Matt Damon is really good in these movies. He's a decent actor for a mainstream like A-list. He does put in a lot to his performances, and really throughout this movie, it is quite good. So really recommend this trilogy if you haven't seen it. Dazed and Confused. This is sadly, I believe, actually my only Richard Linklater Blu-ray. This is easily the most common one to find. But no, this is a great movie. This is, to me, this is like the perfect quintessential. It's starting to get warm out. It's June. You know, people are getting off for the summer or whatever. This is like a really fun movie just to throw on, smoke some pot, chill out. Although the one thing about this movie that I don't really like is that it kind of sides with the frat guys. The douchey frat guys it's kind of more of a movie for them. Like, you'd think this is a stoner movie, but I don't know, I kind of find it more for them in some way. We're just especially how Matt Damon is and stuff. But yeah, really great film, and really enjoy it. Next, I went over this in my 4K. This I'm just gonna keep. It was like a $15 Blu-ray, so I'm not gonna really get rid of it yet. Maybe if someone wants it in their collection, they can use it to trade or something like that. But no, I love Mallrats. One of easily my favorite film of all time. And I'm hoping to also, I want to get this film on all the formats. Don't know if I still have the DVD here. I think the DVD might be in storage right now. But yeah, Mallrats, great movie. Another one of my favorite action films. I think this had the stupidest, most annoying fucking sticker, and that's why it looks stupid as hell. I know. Friggin' that used, they'll never get to the end of me how many used media stores just put on the most cheapest, worst stickers that easily just bleed onto the packaging. Fuck off. It's so annoying. And but no, this is a great action flick. James Cameron, Canadian. You gotta support, but also too, just Arnold Schwarzenegger is brilliant in this. What's the kid's name? I'm blanking on that kid's name. He sucks as an actor, though. I think he's a terrible actor. He was in Pecker, the John Waters movie, and I thought he was terrible in it. But he was good in this movie, and Lana Carter, whatever it is. It's been a bit since I've seen it, but no, love this movie. Heard the 4K isn't that great, so I'll probably just hold on to this Blu-ray. Another great action flick, Drive. So many great moments in this movie. Great soundtrack, great action too. Nicholas Refn, I'm fucking up his name. He is a bit pretentious. He is a bit of a douchebag. But to me, also another film I really want to get, have not found it yet, is Bronson. That's another great film by him. I don't know if I liked Bronson more than this one. It'd be a toss up. I got to rewatch that one. Next is Trainspotting, the best. This is the best movie with the worst title, probably, because I think everyone doesn't understand what it means. It doesn't really make too much sense why they picked Trainspotting. I think my favorite quote is by Oasis, I think it was which brother was one of the Gallaghers was saying, they called it Trainspotting. I said, I don't want to be in that. They should have called it fucking Heroin the movie. Because this is Heroin the movie. This is such an electric movie. Absolutely. Sometimes I'll just listen to the opening scene just because I just think that's so brilliant. Choose life. Choose happiness. Definitely also a movie you need the subtitles to. These Scottish accents are very, very thick, but it's a very Scottish movie. It's renowned in Scotland. A lot of people have adapted to it, even though it's about a bunch of heroin addicts and junkies and shit, but really good. And also interesting too, one of the characters in the film is actually the writer of the book. Haven't read the book. I would be kind of interested to. Place Beyond the Pines, have not seen this in a while, but this is one of those seminal films for me. Absolutely loved it, especially the first part. I know the second part kind of drags and is definitely not as compelling or interesting, and I think what should have happened, and they probably should have spent more time developing Ryan Gosling's character, and then basically just made at the end when he, I don't want to, I don't know if I should spoil it. But I don't know. They probably should spend a lot more time developing his character, because it doesn't make sense why this character, who's not interesting at all, is just a shitty cop basically, or shitty father who's a cop. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what ruins it for this movie, because I think this actually is a great movie. I don't know who directed it, but no, this is a good movie, and Ryan Gosling is really good in it. I also love the opening shot to that film with the cages and everything. Another one of those great films, 2014, Nightcrawler. Another seminal film for me. Have not seen this in a while, but I've seen, I think when I was like moving into this place about a year ago, I put it on. I didn't finish it because I had like a shitty ass setup, and I just couldn't stand like that. It was like my TV was on the floor. I didn't even have like a TV mount or something. So I didn't want to spend time, but I was rewatching. I was like, this is still fucking brilliant. Great movie. Easily my favorite. Oh my god, who's that? Jake Gyllenhaal performance. And very interesting, very compelling story. Kind of goes into a lot of the psyche of those like ambulance chasers or whatever. Next we got American Psycho. Very seminal film. Love the satire. Brilliant satire. Patrick Bateman, aka Christian Bale, is so fucking good. Willem Dafoe is amazing in this movie. So many quotable lines. Don't just stare at it, eat it. I gotta return some videotapes. You know, it's interesting too, because like I think there was like, I'm not gonna pretend like this was like a film that was obscure or anything. That it definitely was a popular enough film. Though I think it didn't do very well in the box office. But I remember it didn't get really memed till about 2019, 2020. And I find whenever something like this gets really memed to hell, like this has been memed to fucking hell, especially during COVID and 2020, 2021. This guy was everywhere, and so it definitely can take you out of it at times of the film. But I think I remember I was glad I saw it before that and got to really enjoy it. And I still really enjoy it. And the memes are funny, you know, just kind of a little bit overused. But no, very great film. So stupid how many idiots on the internet though don't understand this film. But nevertheless, really great satire and critique of capitalism. This is my number one sick movie, The Breakfast Club. I know it's all white, so it's gonna be hard to pick up on camera. This is a film whenever I'm sick, I'm feeling not the best. This is my chicken noodle soup. I put this on, makes me feel better. This film was shot chronologically, which is a very interesting thing, but it makes sense when you watch the movie. It's not really good. Like they had one location to shoot on, so was crazy that they did chronologically. But yeah, this is just a great film. I think isn't the principal or something like a dick, or he's like a child molester or something, which just sucks. It always sucks when it's like a weird like guy after. But no, love this movie. Emilio Estevez, Molly Ringwald, Anthony Michael Hall, just so good. To me, my favorite joke from it was always that he had a fake ID to vote, because at the time in high school, I don't want to really get into it, I was a completely different person in high school, I would say for sure. But like for me, I was really super into politics, and that kind of was like, I kind of would probably do that. Get a fake ID just to vote. Next, I guess another high school film. This is also another seminal film for me. Perks of Being a Wallflower. I still think this is brilliant. I don't know, maybe if I rewatch it again, haven't seen it in a few years, I'll think it's cheesy or whatever. But I really think this film works for what it is. It does have kind of that, pushes on that nostalgia. Sorry, bumped into the mic there. Pushes on that nostalgia of that kind of time period of leaving high school and start. I guess it's about starting high school and leaving high school, but you really do sympathize with Charlie in this film. The trials and turmoils that he goes through, and you can really relate to aspects of his character and feeling like a wallflower, and really finding that group of people. And I kind of had that moment, I definitely did in high school, where you kind of meet those people that welcome you in, and you really have this insular, nice community that you were really longing for after kind of going through a period of aloneness. And yeah, this is just brilliant. This is easily Emma Watson's best movie. Ezra Miller, I won't get into them. Logan Lerman too. He was the guy that they picked for, was that Percy Jackson. So he looked to me, I thought he was terrible in that, but this is really a really great performance by him. And no, just overall, just absolutely love this film, and I think everyone should watch it. Don't know if I'll think it's cheesy if I rewatch it, but I don't really care. To me, I just had so many great memories with that film. All right, next stack coming right up. Alright, so first we got, this would be the Quentin Tarantino collection that I have. Reservoir Dogs, probably I would say easily his best or top two. I think this is a great film, easily better to me than Pulp Fiction, but still, no, really great film. Death Proof, this is also one of my favorite from him. Just love the feel and the atmosphere of it. The second part is not the best, but overall, I just love the opening of this film, the horror, kind of satire, comedy-ish thing. But no, I think this is so good, and Kurt Russell is really cool in it. Also, probably his best too. These are my top three of him. I consider this basically one film. It should be one film. That's what he wanted it to be, one film. That's why I have it like this. But this is another Blu-ray that I really do want to upgrade because not much is on here. This is basically just the film and subtitles. Next is a cool release. Pulp Fiction. I think this is a digibook. No, I guess it's just a flip out case. But no, love this film. Easily, to me, the easiest way to get into his work, I think. A lot of people, I think, are surprised or think it's strange that it's like out of order. And I think that's cool. To me, this is probably the first I was really introduced to a film that wasn't really in chronological order and kind of left you to really discover and see the story unravel, and not really know everything right away, which I enjoy, or not be able to predict everything right away. So I do enjoy it for that reason, but I think I've seen better films that kind of use that structure. Next is the most recent one I've seen of his, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Decent, good film, but really not really to me my favorite. This is one I haven't seen. I know The Hateful Eight, I've seen parts of it, I believe. But no, this is I think I would really enjoy this. It's like a snow western, and I know they like broke like a very like historic like $500,000 acoustic guitar in the film. Django Unchained, really good, really brilliant. I mean, I should remove that sticker. Looks pretty ugly, but no, I love Django. And Inglourious Basterds, good, not my favorite. I think it's decent. I think that also there is some really good carnage in here, and he definitely gets away with a lot of it because you're doing that to Nazis, which is, you know, based. He should do that to Nazis. But I don't know, there's parts of this film I don't think it's the best written. I really don't like Brad Pitt in this film, and I just can't stand when those kind of actors obviously do a terrible accent. Another one I have not seen, heard a lot of people, this is kind of a mixed one in his discography. Is a lot of people either really love it or really hate it. So I do want to watch it. This is a longer movie, so, you know, but at least from what I've heard, it's his most like original creation and not really kind of doing homages and stealing or borrowing other things. But next we'll get into my Kaufman collection. Alright, so first this is my only criterion that I have of a Kaufman movie, but this is a brilliant movie. This is Being John Malkovich. Just such a unique, interesting film. You won't see many films like this, and that's really why I love Kaufman so much. He's such a unique, interesting director, and this is such a fascinating film. Also, to me, I almost went for the 4K, but it was like $50, and it wasn't a specialty release, so I didn't go for it. Of Adaptation, which I think is also the most brilliant sequel to a film I've ever seen, and I just think I've ever seen a film that really acknowledged the screenwriter and the process of making a film. And no, this was so fucking good and awesome. There's so much to say, and I could just say awesome. Anomalisa, this is another brilliant, like, he just continues to shoot you in the heart and show you such a unique film. The style of this film is very unique. Only 3 voice actors are used in this film, and that is on purpose, and it really, to me, portrays just a man who's struggling to basically have that facade, the persona that he has built a career off of being this great business motivator, while also having issues with his wife and going through this derealization, depression that he's going through. And then especially the scene when he makes love with the woman in the hotel room. It is one of the most unique, strange sex sex scenes in a film, because I think a lot of times we see those films, they're kind of a lot of times shot, and this is a clay or stop motion film, not a clay animation, stop motion. And a lot of films that have sex scenes, it's usually filmed kind of more pornographically or like that. But this is really shows like an intimate, very like it almost feels like you shouldn't be in this room while you're watching it. And I think that's just very unique that it's gonna use things like sex and stuff like that, but not in a way to portray basically just pornographic or sexy women, right? So I think that's just such a very unique film. I'm excited to rewatch it. I've only seen it once, but yeah, really excited to watch it. Another one of my favorites, Synecdoche, New York. Brilliant film. And I think to me, what I love about this film, and for me, what I really love about this film is just where I think how much I'll keep coming back to it and gaining so much more from it. This is a very unique story, especially how it's written. It's very, I would say, kind of complicated. I would say it's very complicated in a lot of its structure and ideas that it's working with, but nevertheless it still executes these ideas very excellently, dealing with midlife crisis, dealing with divorce, dealing with having a kid, dealing with not being able to properly raise your kid, and creating being a creative person and creating art that seemingly taking on a project that seemingly has no end. And to me, this film executes it brilliantly, and especially Philip Seymour Hoffman, one of the easily the best actors of the 20th generation or 21st generation, 21st century. Sorry, not generation. Next one we'll go to is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. This is an okay Blu-ray release. Blu-ray release. I would say not too much special features. I think they do have a Criterion in this film. This would be one of those films I would love to see on Criterion. And yeah, if you have relationship issues or connection issues, or I think just most people in general, this is a brilliant concept. Or just the idea of if science was able to figure out a way to give people brain damage and for people to lose memories of people, I think would be cool. Is this such a unique storytelling idea that doesn't fall into those normal breakup romance movies. And Jim Carrey gets a lot of praise for this film, but also to me, Kate Winslet is great in this movie. Mark Ruffalo, Elijah Wood, man, does he ever play someone that you want to punch in the fucking face. Man, is he a sleazebag. But nevertheless, this is a great, brilliant film. And especially too, the unique thing, especially having Michel Gondry, is the unique imagery. And especially to me, especially when they're capturing a lot of those childhood traumas or memories that he has, and just the way that the camera goes, and I just find that so unique, and really just shows the brilliance of that film. Now we're getting into my Tim Burton collection, which he's also one of those seminal directors for me. One of my favorite childhood movies was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, his version, of course. And I know that's controversial, but to me as a kid, I just love how dark it was, and it wasn't. It kind of scared you at times, and it didn't really. I don't know. To me, that film was one of those great childhood movies for me. I really want to make a video on going back to it and seeing how much of it holds up. I'm kind of scared if it does. But let's just get into Tim Burton. Nightmare Before Christmas, brilliant stop motion movie. Big Fish, absolutely fucking love this movie. One of my favorite movies. To me, this is like this is why I don't like what was that other film, Forrest Gump. To me, this is a way better version of Forrest Gump. An extraordinary story that's not really believable, but filled with so many unique characters, and I really want to own the 4K of that. Sadly, don't have it. Corpse Bride, this is a decent, I'm glad it's short. It's a short, I think it's only about 70 minutes, 80 minutes, so it's a nice short flick. You put it on during Halloween. I love the Victorian style of the film and the gothic style of it, but overall definitely not as good as Nightmare. And I don't know if he did actually direct this, but I don't know if it's one of those Nightmare situations where he actually didn't direct it. No, I know he didn't direct Nightmare, okay? Don't tell me, I know that. Beetlejuice, probably my favorite of his films, I'd say. Funny as fuck comedy. Love this film. Love the look of it. Love all the characters, the dark humor of it, and definitely Michael Keaton is so good. He's built to play Beetlejuice, and no, I love this film, and I really enjoyed the sequel. I probably will pick that up someday soon. Sweeney Todd, my favorite musical. Just love this film. I think this is like known as like the male musical. A lot of men like this musical from what I've seen. I know a lot of women too, for sure. But I just like it's such a scary, dark movie. I remember seeing, I think I saw the trailer to this. I never got to watch it as a kid, but the trailer always really compelled me, and I'm always, one of my biggest fears is getting cut off at the jugular, because just the idea of that scares the hell out of me. Now to his 2 Batman films. This is also the VHS of Batman was the first ever physical media thing I was ever given. I remember the day I got it. I would have been 4 or 5 years old, coming home from daycare. My mom gave it to me, and we put it on that night, and I absolutely loved it. Have not seen the movie since, though. I watched it a bunch as a kid. Not seen it since as a grown-up. Have seen this as a grown-up. Love this film a lot more. Darker, scarier. Was made too scary for kids. I watched it at a young age. Scared the hell out of me. Especially, basically, the Penguin as an existence. Danny DeVito. You want to see my French flipper trick? Alright, next we're going into Christopher Nolan, who I like. I don't think he is, I think he's a bit overly praised, but I think it's because of the era of directing or movies that we're in that really there doesn't seem to be, there is a lot of auteurs and unique filmmakers obviously still working. I think there's still a lot of brilliant films being made, but I think a lot of people, Christopher Nolan is their version of that kind of a tour director, of like that director you have to go out and watch his movies because they're all unique and strange, and they are in some ways, but I think he's kind of, he's almost similar to Shyamalan, where Shyamalan now has to write in a twist in every one of his movies, whether it works or not. And I think for him, he has to now use all these things with time and continuity and all this stuff. It doesn't really engage me, and it doesn't really blow me away like it did, and it just kind of seems like it's the old parlor trick still being used. And but let's get into it. Memento. Love this movie. It was spoiled for me, so I kind of knew what was happening before the movie. Still really enjoyed it though. Guy Pearce, right? It's really good. I think it's Joe Bottalingo. I think that's his name. He to me is Bill Burr. Every time I see this movie, I just think of Bill Burr's in this also. Next we have my favorite of Christopher Nolan, The Prestige. Literally Wolverine, Batman, and not Scarlet Witch. What is she? And Black Widow, all in one film. Also, this film has what's it? Oh my God, what's his name? I feel bad. I'm trying to find here. David. It does have Andy Serkis, who's not in mocap. David Bowie. And this movie has David Bowie as Tesla, and I think this is just such a very fun. I love kind of musician films, I guess, if they're done right. I think the problem is, when you have a movie, it's like, well, you can just edit everything. Like, the point of every movie is kind of trickery, and if you ever see F for Fake by Orson Welles, you kind of get that. But this is still a great movie. Love Christian Bale in it. Unique twist. I don't really want to say too much if you haven't seen it, but this is a go out and watch. He filmed this in between Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. So, and these are also great. And, of course, also The Dark Knight Rises. Love this film. To me, Dark Knight Rises could have been his best in this trilogy. There just was some issues with the length of it and things like that. But I kind of find, to me, Bane is, to me, just as interesting and just as menacing of a character as the Joker in this film. But yeah, I went over this a lot in my 4K video. But yeah, love this trilogy. It is probably my favorite superhero trilogy, and probably actually the only superhero trilogy I own all the Blu-rays for. And I'm okay with that. Alright, continuing on. Now we're getting to Scorsese, The Last Waltz. Went over this in video review. Love this film. Favorite concert film. Absolutely brilliant. I went over this in my 4K video. Love The Wolf of Wall Street though. Goodfellas. This is one ass ugly Blu-ray case. What is, like, this is not the cover I want. Is this even reversible? Not even a reversible cover. Like, why is that the chosen picture for Goodfellas? Goodfellas is, to me, my favorite crime movie, and really wish they had a better one. So I'm hopefully to upgrade this to 4K potentially soon. But yeah, love that movie. Cape Fear. Have not seen this movie. Have heard some good things from friends, and I loved the Simpsons episode when they parodied that. So it'll be unique to watch it. Casino. Yeah, this is sealed. Have not seen Casino. I think this is. just a bit long for me. I'm not saying I don't love long movies, but it's just kind of hard to set out the time to put on a 3 hour long epic. And I've kind of heard some people just say it's good, but it's definitely no Goodfellas. But definitely want to watch it, see for myself. Raging Bull, excellent looking film. Love Joe Pesci and of course Robert De Niro in this film. Will be cool though in the Criterion. Don't really know if I need it for sure. I think this still looks really great. Next we got another. This is probably the first Scorsese film I've ever seen, so I haven't seen this since I was a kid. But I thought it was very cool as a kid. Like I guess I do remember some of the scenes from this movie, especially a lot of the scenes when they're like sneaking into the old cinema and they're watching some of those like classic films. And I have heard there's some really great. So I've seen some like quotes from this film that seem they're cheesy, but I think it's a fun cheese because it's Scorsese. I don't know how this was renowned. I don't know if it was either panned or loved, but nevertheless, I do really want to see it just because also, too, filmmakers love to filmmaking or films is always, to me, set up, especially Scorsese. The Departed, also his one of my favorite crime movies. Love everyone in this film. I don't like Mark Wahlberg as an actor or as a person. I think he's a shitbag. But I love him in this film. He's perfect for it. And everything about this film is absolutely great, unique, and using Whitey Bulger and Jack Nicholson is probably I would say his last like great performance. Before I think he actually sadly, I think he has like dementia or something like that, which is quite sad. But to me, this was his last like hurrah, and this is his last kind of great performance to the art of filmmaking. And there's a lot of great stuff to enjoy from this. Seen it a few times, and great action movie, great crime film. Have not seen this one. It's another one of his longer ones, but have heard only brilliant things from it. Do really, really want to see it. Obviously, have not gotten around to it, but really pumped to. I want to see how long it is, because I think it is. Yeah, it's 2:46. So definitely, you gotta set some like an afternoon aside for that. But do really want to check this out because I've only heard good things about it. Now we're going on to my Coen Brothers collection. Went over this in the last video with the 4Ks, but I still kept the Blu-ray release because I think it's actually really fun. Release, like, pops out and shit. I know people really criticize the PQ on this movie, but I still think it's good. I didn't really have a problem with it, but I was like, I'm gonna get the 4K of my favorite movie, why not? I don't know if this is sacrilege. I kind of thought about taking the 4K out of that and just putting it here and just keeping this case, because I think this case is a lot more fun than just the dude in sunglasses. That's cool, the dude in sunglasses and the rugs and his sunglasses, but I enjoy the more postery look to this film. Fargo, I have seen this film, so don't say I'm a faker. I've seen this film, just haven't seen this Blu-ray yet. I watched this on digital when I first saw it. Loved it. Excellent movie. To me, they're unofficial Canadian movie, just with the accents and everything. I know it's Minnesota, but you can't go wrong with this movie. Also, I think actually I was talking about this with my friend. Steve Buscemi is basically, we're like, what is a lead performance with Steve Buscemi in it? And this would be one of them. So yeah, I love this film. Love the feel of this film, that snowed in Canadian small town feel, and also really funny too. This is brilliant. This is their basically western film, and everything that's been said is right about this film. I was scared to go into it because I was like, it's like a very highly acclaimed film, and I'm not really, westerns is not my genre, I'd say for sure. But I put this on. I absolutely loved it. It's so good. The sound, especially, oh my god, I'm forgetting, Benicio del Toro, correct? Javier Bardem, sorry. Javier Bardem is one of the most menacing, scary movie villains. It's almost like borderline a slasher movie in some ways, and I just love it, and everyone should go out and see it. Went over this in my Criterion movie. I've not seen this in a while. Not my favorite of Fincher's works, and it just kind of it's of its time. Social Network, one of my favorite movies of all time, my favorite film from him, and brilliant. Watched it last week and love it still. This is a fun release of Gone Girl. It comes with the novel that she writes. It's Amazing Amy, like not what she writes, but what her parents write about her. So I just thought this was a very, very good film, and absolutely love the story of it. It's super compelling. Ben Affleck is great in this film, and also I forget the girl's name, but the girl who plays his wife. Oh jeez, I hit the fucking mic again. The girl who plays his wife is so good, and she does this role. Rosamund Pike, that's her name, and also Tyler Perry's in this movie, and he's great in it. Next is one I haven't seen. I know, heard this is also one of his best, and the girl with the dragon tattoo. Really cool, really unique. I guess I'm missing the slip to this. I think I'm missing the slip to this. I think this is I believe I got this probably at a thrift store or something like that. I guess it's missing a thing. I was confused there for a second, but yeah, it shows her and I guess James Bond, I forget his name right now. But yeah, cool release. I think it's missing a disc, but it has a Blu-ray on it. Really want to see it. Fight Club, the movie that got me into his movies, and yeah, not much to say about this film that hasn't been said. Great film. It's also a film I accidentally bought twice. Forgot I owned it, and yeah, it's definitely that's kind of unique. I never noticed that. So I guess it shows like Fight Club, and then when you open up, you see Tyler Durden there too, which is kind of cool detail. But yeah, nevertheless, love this film. Love Edward Norton into it. I've also, to me, also one of the most accurate book to film adaptations I've ever seen. I haven't read too terribly many books, so I'm not gonna pretend like I'm some authority on that, but I loved the book and also absolutely loved this film. And I seen the film obviously first, but really glad I own it. Doesn't really hold up as much as it did when I was younger. 7, this is a brilliant killer film, serial killer film. I know it's Kevin Spacey, but it's like it makes sense, you know. I know he's kind of a strange dude, so it's kind of like, if he was a serial killer, I kind of believe it. And yeah, I love this film. Love Morgan Freeman. Brad Pitt is obviously really great in this film, and just unique. And definitely the feeling of this film is so cool. Like, it really gets you, like, it's very grimy, you know, like, especially I think this was first collaboration with, I forget the guy's name, Trent from 9 Inch Nails, and especially that opening credit scene where it's like serial killers writing all these notes and stamping all these, and it just is like, ugh, you just want to take a shower after this film, and I love it. And this was another of those films I watched even with the ending spoiled, but still great. All right, my last section of for directors and my favorite film section. This is gonna be all my Kubrick films. I did go over these two in my last video. Love both of these films immensely. Next, this is going to be, these are the films I also forgot to talk about these in my 4K video, but I also own The Shining and Clockwork on it, but I don't own 2001 yet, so I'm hoping to get 2001. But yeah, all these films are fucking brilliant. Probably the best technical horror film, and to me, Halloween and this film are, like, to me, my two favorites. Clockwork, one of the most interesting psychological kind of horror-ish films, and just really interesting things on imprisonment and sexual frustration. In 2001, one of the most ambitious, insane, great looking sci-fi films, and just brilliant. And yeah, so I own these on 4K. Forgot to mention them. I forgot to mention a few 4Ks that I do own, but yeah, so brilliant films. Really love those. Hopefully I'll get 2001. And next, this is actually the most recent one I watched from him, and this is an interesting film. I do want to make a video on this, but essentially what I'll say to you is, if you want to feel inspired and realize that some of your greats, like I think Kubrick is my top 3 director of all time, is you got to see The Crap. And this is really not a great film. It's not very technically impressive. There's only a few things that are kind of like you can take away from this film, but it's very compelling. This is 1953. I don't really understand why it's in the Library of Congress, because this is really not a really good film. It is a very okay film, and pretty short and everything. It's only an hour long, so quite short. Doesn't really portray much, but a very interesting film nonetheless, just because it is a Kubrick film. Next we got, this is another 4K. I did talk about this film, The Killing. Good film. This is definitely a huge improvement. 2 years later from Fear and Desire, huge improvement. Great crime story, really fun, and just kind of a crappy release. And then the next one I heard, this is also kind of I criticized Blu-ray just for the quality of it, and I definitely get that at times. Definitely not the best picture quality, but absolutely love this film. Absolutely brilliant. One of the best Vietnam films, if not the quintessential one. To me, the perfect setup to watching this would be to watch the first half of this, and I do like the second half. It's really not as compelling, as interesting as the first half. Watch the first half, which is like the first hour, 50 minutes, and then put on Apocalypse Now. It's gonna be 4 hours long, but you are really gonna find, if you want to go and see a very interesting Vietnam film, that's the way to go about it. But yeah, so that's the last of my favorite directors section. I'll go to my next section and we'll go from there. All right, so we had a set change here. Now we're gonna be downstairs. So let's get to the first section right here, which is this section right here, which is like films that I need to see or haven't seen in a while and really want to rewatch. They're kind of my unofficial queue list. And like a lot of these films, I haven't found a spot yet, like whether these will go into like my favorite films collections or not. But let's just get into it. First one here is a box set. This is of all the 3 Rambo films. Have not seen a Rambo film. I remember though I have seen the first one, but when I put it on, I was really drunk. I loved it. I thought it was really fun. It's a Canadian movie, but I was definitely not in a state of mind to like properly enjoy the movie. Or I enjoyed it, but not properly understand the movie. So, I do really want to watch it. Have heard it's really great. Heard it's probably Stallone's best besides Rocky, I guess. Next, this was a highly acclaimed film. Came out, I think 2 years ago. Got it for a really cheap price. Like, I think I literally got this for like $5. Heard it's interesting. Heard it's unique. It is long, but definitely want to check it out. And only heard good about it. So, you know. Next, we got Looper. This is a film I have not seen. This is made by the guy who made Episode 8. Heard this is a lot better film than that, and heard it's a good time travel film. Probably, oh my god, Bruce Willis, sorry, I forgot his names there for a second. Probably his last good movie from what I've heard again. A lot of these films, I can't have too much of an opinion. Northman, I know this still has the cellophane wrap on it, but I only got this because I want to see more of Robert Eggers' work. I've just been working up getting into it. Just because it's like a Viking kind of movie. I'm not really into that, but, you know. 500 Days of Summer. The problem is this one, I don't know if I should have got it, because this is like a really sun-faded Blu-ray. But, yeah, I enjoyed it. I haven't seen it in a while, so I kind of wanted to set my opinion on it more. But yeah, this is like a good romance movie, an interesting concept about kind of just a perspective of someone who thinks that this relationship's going perfect and someone who does not, and kind of dealing with that breakup and things like that. Also, really great soundtrack. Next, Apocalypto. Have not seen any of Mel Gibson's films, or other than I guess the Jesus one. So compelled to watch this, curious to see what it'll be like. Heard this one's good. But, you know, he's a crazy-ass guy, so I don't know. Not really looking forward to it. This is a Marvel movie I've not seen. I've only got this because of the, not late great, but just the great fucking Greg Turkington. He's in this film. I thought this was to me, I literally got this because of On Cinema. Not because I really give a shit about Ant-Man or Marvel movies. And this is actually a classic one I have not seen yet, so curious to check that out. Next one, this was a highly acclaimed film. I think it won a few Oscars when it was released. Good Morning Vietnam. I think I've watched this when I was a kid, or I've seen a lot of like the iconic scenes, like of course Good Morning Vietnam, like that shit. I really love radio, and the Vietnam War is a compelling historic event, so I'm curious what this film will be like, if I'll enjoy it. I know some people say it's kind of like one of those dated Oscar movies. Next we got, this is The Hobbit, the second one. 3D, again, this is for On Cinema. I got this at a thrift store. I got the 3D one because I'm like, maybe, if anything, I think 3D Blu-rays will be probably the most, like, rare, sought-after Blu-rays in the future, my guess. So, you know, if I can get away with that, you know, maybe maybe resell for a few bucks in a couple of years or something. I don't know. But really, I haven't even seen the Hobbit movies. I just really want to see it on cinema. This film I actually have just not put a spot in yet because I actually really enjoy this film. I watched this one a few weeks ago in January. Loved it. It's an excellent story. Very sad story. Excellent acting throughout. Love the direction of it. I love kind of the time, like the way that everything else in the movie. It's interesting because I think it's like my theory behind it was that it's like life outside of them is moving quite fast and they're very intimate and slow. Or I don't know. I thought it seemed kind of like maybe there was something there, but maybe it just was an aesthetic thing. But also I love the soundtrack to that film. This is also another Kubrick film I do own. Have not seen it, so want to watch that. That's why it's in here. And I've only heard really great stuff. And his last film too. So you know, it's kind of a bittersweet one. Damsel in Distress. This is a Greta Gerwig. She's in it. She didn't direct it, I believe. No, she didn't direct it, but she's in it. That kind of interests me. Seemed like a fun comedy. I think it won some, I seen like TIFF. I guess so. It was a selection at some festivals at the time. I think it's like from 2010 or something like that. So, interested to watch it. Check it out. Next, we got Parasite. This film won, of course, many, I think 5 Oscars or something like that for a foreign film. Very impressive from what I've heard, and really good from what I've heard. I've not seen it, seen bits and pieces of it, but have not sat through and watched it. So, I think this is a film I've only heard really great things about. What's his name? Bo Jong-ho. And he made, another film that he made, Snowpiercer. We'll talk about that later. I really love that film. So, I'm really wanting to see this one, and heard it's really compelling and tells an interesting story of class and things like that. Ides of March. I'm a political nerd, so I've heard this is a decent political movie, and I think this was directed by George Clooney. So I don't know. I haven't actually seen any of his directed movies, but I've only heard good from this, and really good cast like Philip Seymour Hoffman, Paul Giamatti, of course Ryan Gosling, George Clooney. So I'm really curious to check it out, and I'll see if it's something that will be one of my favorites. Alright, back again with more stacks from that section. Illicit Ills. This film seems interesting. It's a very common film, actually, for Blu-ray. So, you know, I just was like, it seemed interesting. I don't know how well it's done. It seems like it could be one of those liberal, cheesy movies like, what was that, The Blind Side or something like that, where it just is like, you're not actually giving a shit about these people, you just want to have your idea of it, and then white liberals can feel good after they watch it. So I don't know, curious, don't really know much about it, but I'm going to check that out someday. Of course, I've seen this film a few times. This I've not seen, Lost in Translation, Sofia Coppola, I believe, and I always heard that's a good one. A lot of people have that as their favorite film, and there's some people have that as their favorite Bill Murray film too. So I love both. I love Bill Murray, and I know it's like a young Scarlett Johansson. It's like really cool film. It's in Tokyo and stuff. So want to check it out. Haven't seen it yet. This is a really cheap steelbook. That's why I bought it. Patriot Games. I don't know. Is this one of those like Tom Clancy movies? I like Harrison Ford, so you know I want to check it out. Basically got it. If it wasn't a steelbook, I don't think I would have bought it. But, you know, maybe I'll enjoy it. Hellboy 2, got this because I haven't even seen the first Hellboy or owned the first Hellboy. I just got this because it's Guillermo del Toro. Love his movies. Love his visuals and imagination that he brings to all of his films. Heard that one's better than the first one, and be curious to check that out. Another Ghibli film. A lot of people have this as their favorite Ghibli film. I want to check it out really a lot, but have not gotten around to it. I know it's a longer animated movie, but I've heard this film is really epic. It is also quite violent for like a PG-13 animated film. So really curious to check it out. Seems like an interesting story, and only heard insane acclaim and everything. Prisoners, I think this is Denis Villeneuve, or for his name, Denis Villeneuve. He's like a French director from Montreal, I believe. Heard this is a really good film. Not seen it, so, you know, want to watch it. This is, oh god, like sticking. Oh god. Oh, see, again, it's one of those stupid stickers that, oh my god, can't stand it. But this is Steve McQueen collection. This has The Great Escape, The Magnificent Seven. I know I fuck up that title. I don't care. The Thomas Crown Affair, and Sand Pebbles. So all those films I've not seen, I heard Steve McQueen. I know I really want to also see The Blob. So yeah, this is to me probably going to be an interesting watch, and kind of fun history. These are all like old '60s films, so glad I found it. I got it for like a good price. I think it might have been like $5, so you never know. This film, I don't know much about it, and I haven't heard anything about it. This was a blind buy. I think it was like $5. The back of it kind of seemed compelling and interesting, and then I was like, this could either be a terrible, shitty film or something I really enjoy. I think that's how I'm kind of guessing. I feel like this will go one or two ways. It'll be a love or a hate, and haven't heard anything about it, so I can't tell you anything about it. I think it's about a ghost. This film, I just want to rewatch it. Haven't seen it in a while. Have seen it. Really enjoyed it, but don't know how much it holds up. I had a friend watch it recently. He was kind of mixed on it, so I don't know if it'll really hold up as it did, but I did enjoy it. And Nick Nolte, of course, you gotta love him. Speaking of Steve McQueen, but this is a very different Steve McQueen. This is another one of his films. Steve McQueen, I really got into his movies from Hunger, but I haven't seen his other two, Shame and 12 Years a Slave. I think he might actually has another one I can't think of the top of my head. But yeah, this one won a bunch of Oscars. I heard this was a really good film, great story, important film, so I want to watch it, want to check it out. And Steve McQueen blew me away with Hunger. I think that's one of the greatest films of all time, and just beautifully tells the story of some people, I guess. Next, we got The Ghost Rider. This is a Roman Polanski film. But I heard it's good. Heard it's interesting. It's a very common Blu-ray, so I picked it up. I'm gonna check it out. See what it is. I haven't even seen Rosemary's Baby, so I don't know if that's the best way to find Roman Polanski. I kind of feel bad that I own this now because he's an actual. I know Woody Allen. I enjoy Woody Allen's movies, but this is like Roman Polanski's an actual rapist. City of God. I think this was like I don't know how old this film is. Cause I feel like there's a few like movies that have a similar kind of title to this. This was like 2003 or 2004 or something like that. But I heard this was a really good film. Has Ebert on there. Some classic, yeah, 2003. So I think this will be an interesting film. Don't really know much about it. Heard it got a lot of acclaim, and I'll make my own decision. Waiting for Superman. This seems like an interesting documentary. It is made by people who made An Inconvenient Truth, which is like a debated or kind of a contentious documentary, but nevertheless I still want to see this, and this is really about the American school system and all the corruption and basically disgustingness. Like this is you're looking at a nation that spends more money on the military than it does on its future, so I'm thinking this will be a very interesting film and documentary. Don't know if it'll be like An Inconvenient Truth, which I think is an important documentary, but I know has some flawed science behind it and things like that. I'm not like a denier of climate change. I just don't think Al Gore is the most shining example or has the most accurate stuff. American Beauty, have not seen this one. Why am I saying this for? I have not seen all this one. American Beauty, have not seen it. Heard it has good stuff in it, but Kevin Spacey movie. Could be weird. Green Mile, this is, to me, I always kind of get this, almost feels like it's a sequel to Shawshank. I know it's not, but it just seems like a very similar style film to it, and want to see it. Really long, so I've not checked it out. The Deliverance, 1970s film. I love the 70s, so anytime I see like a highly rated 70s film, or just a 70s film in general, I'll probably get it. Deliverance, this is, I believe, a Vietnam film. Has John Voight, before I guess he went insane, and Burt Reynolds. So I haven't heard much about it, but when I researched it online, it seems like it's one of those one of the more acclaimed war films of the 70s. So we'll see for ourselves. I know it's bad I have not seen this. Blade Runner 2049. I haven't actually seen the first Blade Runner. I did get this. I was going to put this on one night because I heard you don't really need to see the first one, but it is a long one. But I've heard the visuals and the direction of this is absolutely excellent, and so do want to watch it. And I've seen a lot from it, like a lot of screenshots and memes and stuff. Licorice Pizza. Got this because it's a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. I absolutely love The Master and Punch Drunk Love, so want to check out this one. I haven't seen much about it. I think this is a film that came out in 2020, so it was kind of lost, I think, in that shuffle of that time period. So want to check it out. I think Sean Penn's in it, which is like he hasn't been in a film in a while. Harriet, I got this because I guess it's the actress from Wicked, which I was like, okay, I'm kind of curious what she did before this. I haven't actually seen Wicked either, but you know, I saw this. It was I was like, I think this was one of the free titles I got. It was like a buy two get one free thing. And I was like, okay, well, if it's free, I'll take a shot on it. Haven't heard much on it. It's Focus Pictures, which kind of always brings me hope. They usually do a great job of making their film. Mr. Nobody, heard this was a good film. I believe it's made by a foreign director. Has Jared Leto in it. Heard it has just an interesting story to it. Sci-fi movie, so want to check it out. J. Edgar, this is just really cheap, $2, you know, $2 for a Blu-ray. I'm gonna buy that. It's pretty cheap. It is what's his name? Oh my god, Clint Eastwood. It's a Clint Eastwood movie, which to me those are kind of quintessential dad movies. So I don't know, maybe I'll think it's good. It's a political movie. I guess it's about the life of J. Edgar. So yeah, could be good. Sound of Music. I hated this movie as a kid. But I'm starting to grow my palate for musicals, and I've heard this is really highly regarded as one of the greatest musicals and movies of all time. One of my favorite artists, Shep Gold, he says this is his favorite musical of all time, so I was kind of surprised about. But I was like, okay, I'll check that out if it's highly regarded. And this was a really cheap. It was only $10 for the Blu-ray DVD double pack. The only annoying thing is it's in a DVD case. So it's a lot bigger. If I want to put it in Blu-rays, it's a lot bigger than the Blu-rays, which kind of irks me. Another film I've not seen. This is a big movie that came out, but the time period that it came out, I just wasn't really interested in seeing another Batman film. Have heard this is highly regarded. 3 hours long, so that's kind of what's been like, oh my god, like, do you really need a 3-hour long Batman movie? But I've heard this really gets a lot more into the detective side of Batman, which does compel me. It does interest me, and hopefully it'll be really good. I think they're planning on making this sequel soon. I know they made the Penguin TV show and such, so you know, I think this will be a fun watch. And I've heard, and what's his name is kind of Robert Pattinson is going on like kind of a renaissance in his career, which is kind of interesting. All right, so last bit here. Moneyball, have seen this movie. Roy loved this movie. Want to rewatch it soon. That's why I have it here in this section. I'll probably wait till, I know in a few months it'll be spring training or something like that. Probably when it's more baseball season, I'm going to rewatch it. So I want to see how much it'll hold up, but I really loved it the first time I seen it. Shame, another Steve McQueen movie. Heard only great things about it. Scarface. This is a movie I have seen. Do not really like it. This was a film for me that I found quite boring. I thought to me it felt a lot more like a talkie, and none of the dialogue other than Pacino was very compelling or very interesting. I kind of found it quite boring, and I was expecting a lot more of the style of Goodfellas and even like The Godfather. I think it keeps you a lot more compelled, and this movie is really just a build up for the last 30 minutes, which is good. Don't get me wrong, but I think the rest of that it's like 2.5 hours before that is not interesting to me and was quite boring. And Pacino is to me the only salvable thing. The Disaster Artist, I liked this movie when it came out. I was really into The Room. You know, it had its heyday on YouTube like 2016, 2017. And it really kind of had that internet resurgence from it, and that's what led to like this film. It might have not actually been all natural. It might have just been because of that film. But I know he wrote the book and stuff like that. So I loved this movie. It was pretty funny when it came out. I have not rewatched it since it came out. So interested to see if it will be as good. And I don't know. I kind of like, I've moved on a lot. And I think a lot of people have moved on from The Room. And just, I think to me, it's the most popular worst movie. But I don't think it is the worst movie ever made. I think there is a lot. There's tons, millions of more worse movies than that. The Last Song, haven't seen this movie since I was a kid. I know this is a cheesy Disney movie, but who cares? You know, it's kind of nostalgic for me. You know, if I have a lady over, you know, maybe you win a lady over, you're like, oh, what? Oh, I have this. Okay, you know. In the Land of Milk, Blood and Honey. At first, I think I needed it for a deal. Like, I needed it was like 3 movies. It's like, if you buy 3 Blu-rays, you get 1 free. And this was like one of them that I kind of grabbed impulsively, and then I realized after it is an Angela Jolie directed movie, which doesn't give me much hope. I don't really see her much as, I don't know, maybe that's, I don't want to be sexist or come off sexist, but I don't know. To me, she's never seemed like a directing type. But yeah, you never know. You never know. Maybe it's good. Maybe I'm writing myself into a corner here. But I'll be curious if it's good. I think this one was kind of is well regarded, or I think it was somewhat acclaimed. So another one, Beast of the Southern Wild. This is another one I kind of bought just off the title because I was like, I recognize that title. I believe I've heard good things about that. And it did win the Cannes, Dior, and Sundance. So I guess that's a lot of that's a good acclaim, but that doesn't always mean it's going to be a quality film. But I've heard really good stuff about it. Gonna check it out and see what it has to say. Don't know why this is actually in this section. I probably should move this. I love this film. This is a great film. Love the story. Took me a while to watch it. Like I remember when it came out in 2016. I was not into musicals, and I just couldn't get into it. But then when I watched it about a year ago, maybe more like 6 months ago, I thought, okay, this is really, really great. I think I got brand new speakers when I was using it, so blasting it. But just excellent. All the performances in here, the music is excellent in here, and it's not really a typical musical. Like it's definitely a lot more. To me, it has a lot more dialogue than you would expect for a musical type. Manchester by the Sea. I remember this film being quite big and getting a lot of buzz when it came out, and I think I seen it when I was too young to watch it. So I'm curious if it is a great movie, or if I was like thinking I'm thinking it was better than it was. So really wanted to check this one back out. But yeah, this is to me like a very, I think 2015, like that just was I just remember being that was that first time when I was really getting knowledgeable about film and getting into film. So I don't know, I kind of remembered that as like the memories of like, this is like one of those cool artsy or better artsy movies. Again, this is another on cinema. This is the first Hobbit movie. I'm a Hobbit head, thanks to Greg. And so I want to check this out. Again, it's a 3D one, so, hopefully it might get some resale value. Alright, now we're on to the horror section. Of my movies. First off, we got Sharknado. I know this was kind of one of those purposely shitty movies that's kind of not trying to do anything special. But, it was a historic movie. It was big for the 2010s, meme movies. Final Destination 2, have seen the first one, have not seen this one. Really enjoyed the first one. Fun concept, fun idea. Next we got The Silence of the Lambs, one of my favorite kind of horror-ish films. I guess it's kind of more to me a psychological thriller in a lot of ways, but no, love this film. Everything about this, Anthony, Anthony Hopkins, sorry. Also Buffalo Bill, also Jodie Foster. Everything about this movie is so good, so well crafted, so creepy, and especially Buffalo Bill. Oh, what a piece of shit. The Fly. I watched this film a long time ago. Really loved it though. Super strange, super weird. Cronenberg. So shout out to Canada. What's his name? Jeff Goldblum is so strange, but you also have a lot of empathy for him. And I think that's the great thing about this film is it does build. It's almost like you should be laughing at this, but you feel bad that you're doing that. This is a horror film, in my opinion. The Cat in the Hat. What a strange film. This led to the wife of Dr. Seuss saying, "You guys are never getting approved to make another live action film of my husband's thing," but also he was a piece of shit too. Haven't seen this in a while. I enjoyed this film. It's fun. It's cheesy. Definitely not great, and definitely not the second part of this film is anything to really write home about. But I like the first part, and I like Tim Curry. Tim Curry is probably the only reason why that film's watchable. Rob Zombie flick. I like this film. Definitely, I think I actually enjoy. I think I have it down there, but I like 1,000 Corpses better. Jaws, great film, great blockbuster, the original blockbuster basically. And yeah, so much about this film shouldn't work about it. So much of this film should have failed. But what Spielberg was able to capture in this film is really impressive. Not a huge Spielberg fan, but this would be definitely one of those films that I really love from him. and it's a fun shark film. Lost Boys, this is a Joel Schumacher film, and heard this is really good. Have not seen it. It has that 80s vibe to it, has this kind of cool goth scene to it, and want to check it out. Have not seen it. This is a really, really fun zombie comedy, and so much to enjoy about this film. And the only thing I just took away from this film for me is the digital blood. I wish they used actual blood squibs. Kind of bring me out of it. But yeah, Simon Pegg and, oh my god, I'm forgetting the name of the director on here. Oh my god. I can't remember the name. He was, shit, I feel awful. It doesn't say it here. No, of course it doesn't say in the film. But no, this is really good. Really good. I wish I remembered the guy's name. But I love Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz I probably like more, but I don't have that on Blu-ray. Curse of Chucky, just one of the Chucky movies. I think this was one of the more contemporary ones, 2013. I keep getting them all mixed up. I keep wanting to watch the Chucky movie with John Waters in it, but I keep, that's just The Bride of Chucky. But I keep getting the wrong one. And that's one of them. I'll probably watch that one eventually. I think that was like the reboot of the series. Okay, so here's the double pack. But yeah, I'm a much more fan of 1,000 Corpses. And I really only liked the start of the film. And I was really disappointed in Dr. Satan. I thought that seemed like a really cool, fun B-movie horror villain. And they really just kind of wasted him, I thought. This is a really good artsy horror film. It Follows. I really loved this film. Great vibe to it. Great soundtrack to it. Love the way it was shot. Love the feeling of it. Also, if you're a fan of the Fred movies, the villain from the Fred movies is in there. Next one, this is probably the most acclaimed horror movie that I have not seen yet. I know, The Exorcist is a renowned classic. This is a digibook of it, so obviously I want to get around to watching it. Obviously I've heard so many great things about this movie, but I have not seen it. Next is going to be my comic book section of the film. A lot of these films I got a long time ago. Haven't picked up a comic book film in some time. I guess the Batman was probably the last one I picked up, but let's get into it. So Wonder Woman, really enjoyed this for this time. Heard people say it doesn't hold up as well on rewatch, but for me at that time in DC, it was like the freshest film they released at the time. Just kind of shitty ending. Civil War, actually bought this film twice, but yeah, it's probably my favorite Marvel movie. Definitely my favorite of like their big ensemble cast of films. This is in the wrong section, but Indiana Jones Temple of Doom, don't really like this film, but got the Blu-ray for pretty cheap, so picked it up. The Joker, also this is actually probably the best DC film, although watching The King of Comedy and Taxi Driver, to me, is taken away from this film just because you realize how much they borrowed from those films. But nevertheless, Joaquin Phoenix, amazing performance, and De Niro, really enjoyed him, and a lot of sequences in that film is really well done. But at the same time, I think what really took me out is that they made it too comic booky. If they didn't have all the Bruce Wayne and the father of Bruce Wayne, would have been a lot better. Batman v Superman, this was one of the first Blu-rays I remember really getting excited for and buying on basically its release. So I paid a lot of money for this stupid movie, in other words. Birdman, I heard this is a really compelling movie. I know it won a lot of Oscars. It was kind of, what's his name's comeback. Oh my god, Michael Keaton. But yeah, curious how to check it out. Heard it has a very interesting style to it because it's all one-shot kind of movie. So, you know, we'll see that. Here's another Civil War because I have that film two times. This is also probably my favorite comic book film. These are one of my favorite animated films of the last decade. I remember watching this in theaters, seen it a few times. Every time, just love it, adore it. The style of it's so unique, the story of it, and I think it's also really been from what I've seen is that it's like been the Spider-Man movie for a lot of kids, and this movie came out too 2017, a year before that, and I feel like this has kind of gone to the wayside comparably to Into the Spider-Verse just because they did so much more with Spider-Verse in this film. This is a good film. Michael Keaton is in it, but you know, I thought it was good at the time just because it was fun to see Spider-Man back. But thinking back, meh, and I really didn't like the sequels to it. Next we got Infinity War. I really just wanted to buy this because I think this is kind of, in a lot of ways, of popular film or contemporary film. This would be, to me, the big
these are the films that were big moments, and this is a film that this time period when it was coming out I'll never forget, and I did enjoy this film a lot more than that's why I don't have Endgame. I didn't really enjoy Endgame. I just like this is like the first Marvel movie with stakes and a good villain and really good ensemble cast. But I don't know. I'm at the same time, I'm not a huge fan of those movies as much as I once was. Again, these I really love. I don't have the first Spider-Man on Blu-ray, sadly. So I only have number 2 and number 3. I do still like 3. I still think 3 is a good film. Just has some flaws to it. Definitely not as good as the second one. And also, I have not done a trilogy rewatch those movies in a long time. So that'd be fun to rewatch. This probably should be in my other section. I've not seen this film. Only heard good things about it. This came out similar timing to Infinity War. And so I'm guessing that'll be pretty good. This is a Chronicle. I heard this was like not. This is not an affiliate. Oh, jeez, this Blu-ray is falling out of it. This is not like a DC or Marvel comic movie. It was I don't know if it was independent, but it was like a not tied to an IP, which is interesting. Haven't seen it yet. Terrence Malick, I think, is in it. But yeah, we'll see how it is. I've heard some people say it's really good, but it kind of has a lot of that shaky cam footage from it. Love this documentary. Really good. PBS puts out some really solid documentaries, and just really fun and interesting if you're into the history of comic book movies. It kind of goes into a lot of the golden age, and this is cool too because it kind of came out, I think, 2010 or 2012 or something like that. So it came out before really Marvel and comic book movies really took over. So to me, I kind of like that it has that more. It's more focused on the comic book movies and the people who wrote them. But one thing about it is propaganda, because that's the thing I can't stand is when they will glaze and talk about Stan Lee and never bring up any of his faults, because he had one of the best PR systems, but he stole a lot of and took credit for a lot of characters that Jack Kirby created, which I think is pretty fucked up. And that's why people don't know Jack Kirby, but they know Stan Lee. And so I find that disappointing. It's not really brought up in this documentary, but should be. Blade, love this film, very 90s. Techno soundtrack, so many quotable lines. Motherfuckers always ice skating uphill. Wesley Snipes is fucking brilliant in that movie. Let that man get away with not paying taxes for Blade. I'm kidding. X-Men First Class, didn't like this one. I don't know. I might. That's another one. I'll rewatch it. I'll see what I think of it. But didn't really like it when I first watched it. X-Men. These were probably, to me, these are the films that established comic book movies could be viable, and these are really good. My biggest thing is I just don't like that they had these stupid or they have like all these leather coats as their costumes, which is to me pretty lame. But nevertheless, good film. And also Bryan Singer, you're kind of a perv. All right, so this section here is more or less my sci-fi / epic films. So let's get into this. Inception. Nolan film I've not seen. I know. Thankfully, I've not been spoiled of it. Do not spoil me. I will watch it someday. I don't know. There's something about that film that compels me, but doesn't compel me to watch it. Gladiator and Troy double feature. I only got this because of Gladiator. I already own Troy. You'll see that in a second. Really love Gladiator. I think that's a really epic. Probably Ridley Scott's last great film. Not interested in seeing the sequel. 300, also a film I have not seen. I know this is a Zack Snyder film, which I think he is quite style over substance. But I've heard that film is fun and enjoyable, not historically accurate. Just kind of have fun with it, kind of movie. Troy, again, haven't seen it. Lord of the Rings, I only own one of them on Blu-ray. I want to own the rest of them. I own the DVD set. I'll do that when I do my DVD collection. But no, I love Lord of the Rings. Such well done fantasy epic films. District 9. Have not seen this one. What was that director? Neil Blomkamp. He was really he had a time where he was he seemed like he was going to be the next big visual director. He had a Star Wars film and everything, but I guess it kind of fizzled away. But I haven't seen that one. Star Trek 2009. don't think I've seen this. I know. So I haven't also seen Into the Darkness. Khan, I know Khan is in it though. But, you know, I kind of remember when they were coming out. I remember the hype around it. But Snowpiercer, love this film. This is probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, sci-fi films. Excellent, excellent. Bong Joon-ho. It's an adaptation of, I guess, actually a French graphic novel. And I think it just tells a very compelling story. Has a lot of, to me, a lot of good commentary on climate change and kind of dystopian future, and just really good. Jeez, this thing has some dust on. It's been a while since I watched Star Wars. This is Rogue One. I really love this film. This is a really good of the new era of Disney Star Wars. This one's really good. Directed by Neil Blomkamp, I believe. Let me make sure. Oh, Garrett Edwards. Sorry, I get those two guys mixed up. It's Garrett Edwards, but nevertheless, this is a really good film. And I also love that it showed a lot more of a war. It's Star Wars, but a lot of times there's not really an actual war that's going on. So this is one of them that I think that does that. Those scenes are really good, and I kind of like seeing in the water. Force Awakens. These are not in chronological order. Sorry, so if you're gonna get pissed about that, but whatever. The Force Awakens. I love this film. This is actually my favorite Star Wars film, and I know that's controversial. It's definitely for a personal reason. I know it's for personal biasy or whatever, but for me, I remember going out to see this film on opening day. It was the first Star Wars movie I got to see in theaters on opening, and just the emotions and the excitement and everything behind it. And I also enjoy the story. I know it's a remake of A New Hope, but it's a lot more exciting of a remake of A New Hope. If you watch A New Hope, I do love A New Hope, but this one to me tells a lot. It's a lot more exciting way of doing A New Hope. The Last Jedi. Yes, I'm somewhat defensive of this film. Not in a way I would not ride or die for this film. If you think this is a bad film, I don't blame you. I think this is a bad film, or I think this is a good film with a lot of flaws. Probably one of the few good films I've seen that has this many flaws in it and issues with it. I think the biggest issue was not allowing one visionary to take over this trilogy. And that's where it kind of feels like this movie is lost in the shuffle. But some really great sequences in it, and I really loved how expanded on Kylo Ren. Was really disappointed about Rey, and now that she's we'll go into this. Now she's a Palpatine, which I really didn't like. For me, what I was hoping when I watched the first one was I was hoping that it would be that she was she came from a third party, and that her parents did not side with the resistance or the rebels. And I think that would, for me, been a lot more interesting, that you could, that it would be someone that wouldn't have really a place to choose. This film, Sylphane, is still on this because I haven't seen it. I don't know if I will. I don't know if I will. I got this for incredibly cheap, and I don't know if I even want to watch it. I don't know. I really don't know. This is good. I own this, but I prefer to watch the restoration of the original cut. Just the CGI really takes you out of it. And there's just so much to love with this trilogy. One of the best trilogies in film. And I know a lot of people, I don't love Star Wars as much as the average Joe, but I do enjoy it. And to me, this is definitely the best that this series has to offer. But was kind of ruined by over CGIing and everything. This is also really cheap one. These are really fucking scratched to hell Blu-rays. So I want to kind of get rid of this, and yeah. And I guess the prequel, I won't really talk about the prequels. Everything that's been said, just watch Mr. Plinkett. And here is. Well, this is The Force Awakens again. I think I just got this for the slipcover, and yeah, it looks like a 4K, but it's just a black Blu-ray disc. But yeah, so still to me easily my favorite Star Wars film. I know it's controversial. I will talk about Star Wars at another time. I do want to make that video with one of my friends who's a lot more into Star Wars. I think that would be more interesting than me talking about it. Raiders of the Lost Ark, my favorite Indiana Jones film. I know Temple of Doom should be beside this. To me, this is way better than the Temple of Doom. I love this movie. It's fun use of, they kind of did a throwback to old serial stories and adventures and those kind of things. And I think it's an amazing film and iconic in so many ways. Alright, have I bored you yet? We're halfway through. Let's get to the kids section here. Alright, first we'll go to Harry Potter. I love these movies. Didn't really grow up in them. I grew up in them in a weird way. If I ever do a Harry Potter review, I'll kind of explain that. But I grew up in a family that thought this was like demonic witchcraft or whatever. But I really love this film. Really fun. Really great adaptation of it. Of course, J.K. Rowling has shot herself in the foot and has probably forever destroyed the legacy of these. Alright, number 9. This is a Tim Burton. Yeah, it's a Tim Burton animated film. Heard it's scary. Heard it's dark. Creepy vibes. Want to watch it. Haven't seen it. Don't know what's in there, so let's see. Oh, okay. It's Monsters, Inc. Yeah, okay. Good Pixar film. My Life Zucchini. I got this film because it's part of like the G Kids collection, which to me any of their releases compel me. And this was really good, really heartfelt story. Love the stop motion in it, and just tells a very tragic story of children in an orphanage, but in a very beautiful way. And amazing voice acting in that movie. This is also my favorite, not Disney Pixar, but Disney animation movie. Love Zootopia. I think it's really fun. Interesting kind of concept too. I know it's not the most deep or compelling concept, but an interesting way to introduce a lot of kids to class and racism and the kind of struggles that come with that. And I love the characters. I love, of course, Judy Hopper. Next, probably Adam Sandler. Better movies, fun animated, kind of like Halloween timing, like spooky-ish, like fun spook style movie. But yeah, easily Adam Sandler, and it's like Adam Sandler and crew, like it's all of his buddies. So if you don't like Adam Sandler, check out that one. You might like that one. Jumanji. I really loved this film as a kid. This is like one of those nostalgia kid watches, and it does kind of hold up. It is a scary, kind of dark movie, and Robin Williams is really fun in it. I could care less about the fucking one that they made with The Rock. I think that is disgusting. This one, I love the case, just because like, you never see green Blu-ray cases. But I'm pretty sure that this is actually a broken Blu-ray disc. Like, I don't think this Blu-ray disc actually works or doesn't read or something. So I'm still looking for a better copy of this, but I'll definitely keep this case. It's very cool. How to Train Your Dragon 2, really great animated movie. Love the How to Train Your Dragon movies. Easily DreamWorks, probably best trilogy or best franchise comparatively, maybe to like Shrek or whatever. But no, these are excellent, and the sequel is probably my favorite, I would say, compared to the first one. The first one is really excellent. I don't actually know if I own the first one on Blu-ray. Next we got Lego Batman. I really loved this film. I thought this was really funny. Sequel-ish to the Lego movie. I thought this was a really fun idea. To me, one of my favorite comic book films. Will Arnett as Batman is absolutely hilarious. I think it's Michael Cera as Robin. Everything about this movie is just so fun. And one of the best Batman movies in my opinion. I would much rather watch this than Batman Begins. Now we got Willy Wonka, another childhood movie. I want to really own the Tim Burton one too. But this one's also really fun. I remember as a kid I weirdly thought that this one was newer than the Tim Burton one. I don't know why, but I did for a time. But no, Gene Wilder, dark, creepy, psychedelic, fun movie. Toy Story 3, this was a very important film for me and a lot of people. And I have not seen this as an adult, which I think that will kind of hit me in a new place now that I'm older and stuff like that. But love this film, watched it in theaters when it came out. And yeah, the Toy Story trilogy, not the quad trilogy or whatever you'd call that, not including number 4. But yeah, that's such a brilliantly well done movie. Shrek Forever After, haven't seen this since theaters, which was in like 2010. So I don't know how it'll be. I bought it because I was like, I'll watch that someday. The Lego Movie, great animated movie. Should have gotten an Oscar that year. Was stupid. I don't even remember. I remember the Oscars for animated picks that year were so stupid and terrible. And this was brilliant. It was really well done. I know I hope it's not gonna. It kind of has bred a trend for I feel like a lot of those kind of studios now who are like Barbie movie and stuff like that. You know, I like Barbie movie, but it just seems like a lot of movie franchises, if they're gonna make those shelling like basically this is product placement in the movie, but they're like, well, we'll be meta or satirical or we'll acknowledge that, and it's like, well, you're still kind of doing that at the end of the day. I also got the 3D Blu-ray of it. It was cheap, and I don't know. Potentially, maybe one day it will gain some value. You know, this is another Harry Potter. This is Deathly Hallows Part 2. Don't know why I own this one. Don't know why I picked up this one. If I only really want the other one for the lenticular cover. I don't know. Wally. Just watched this one last night. Love this Pixar film. This is a brilliant dystopian children's film, and tells a very compelling story of like what potentially probably will happen to us. And yeah, it kind of gets you in there with a cute little robot and a cute robot companion. But no, this is a brilliant film. It looks amazing, and really Pixar knocked it out of the park with that one. Never Ending Story. I've not seen this one for a while. Good children's film from what I remember. I remember loving Falkor. The scene where that horse dies is incredibly sad. Next, we got Puss in Boots, another DreamWorks film. I haven't seen this since Cedars. This is highly regarded, though, for a DreamWorks movie. And, you know, I love Javier Bardem, I believe. Yeah, Antonio Banderas, sorry. Antonio Banderas does a great job of voicing Puss in Boots. And I know there's actually a sequel that also got rave reviews. Cloud with a Chance of Meatballs. I remember loving this as a kid. And this is made by the same people who made the Lego Movie. And a lot of people say, even as a lot of adults say, this is actually an incredibly funny comedy. And so I really want to see it again since I was a kid. I remember as a kid, though, dying laughing at this movie. I had a lot of fun. Watched it in theaters, everything like that. I remember the big kind of cultural movie for a bit. Next, I guess this is a Monsters Inc. I guess my other disc. I don't know why. I can't even explain why I have them on two different discs. But yeah, Monsters Inc. I love this one. Haven't seen it in a while. But yeah. The Muppets. This is a Disney remake or reboot, I guess, of the Muppets, and this is excellent. So much fun. I know it's one of the save the theater storylines, which is kind of lame at times, but no, it's the Muppets. You gotta love the Muppets. You gotta love all the people in it. The celebrities in it are even really good, and to me, this is comparable to the '70s Muppet movie, which is one of my favorite films of all time, easily. Kung Fu Panda 3, have not seen it. I haven't seen Kung Fu Panda 2. I bought this film because this was the first film that I ever lied to my mom about going to go see. I told my mom I was going to go see Kung Fu Panda 3, but I ended up watching Deadpool. And so I kind of have that connection to it where I remember it, and I've heard it's good. Incredibles, another great Pixar film. Love this film. I'm really contemplating getting the 4K of this film, but I do know some of the human animation hasn't held up, but to me this is also a great comic book film, and the best Fantastic Four film we'll ever get. Shrek 2, great sequel, great animated sequel. Probably better, I'd say better than the first one easily. And I got a good deal on this one, so I think that's why I got this. Have not seen Transformers the movie. Did watch Transformers 1 this year, which I thought was excellent. And so I think this will be fun just to kind of see. I haven't watched the cartoon. I never grew up with it, or really grew up with Transformers in general, but I'm curious what this will be, and a lot of people say this is a really fun 80s animated movie. I know some of these are out of whack, they're not in order. How to Train Your Dragon, this is the first one, so I do have this one. No, absolutely love this film, love so much about it, love how they introduce so many characters. Jay Baruchel, Canadian, you know how it is, you know, Toothless, everything about this, and I'm just so happy that that's one thing I think I really respect about DreamWorks Studios is that they don't always pick the most blockbuster cash cow book series. Because even then we'll go on here now to Shrek. Like these are two adapted from books, but like these have taken over the books, and a lot of people don't know they're based off books. Because I think they're really just smart about finding those really clever, kind of underrated children's stories and adapting them to CGI animation, and they do an excellent job with it. I wish they would do more 2D animation, but we all know 2D animation in the West is dead. But no, these are two excellent films, and of course Shrek is one of those films that I think every kid of my generation saw at least once. Alright, now to the action section, which is probably my biggest section for Blu-rays. Independence Day, I don't know, to me it's a dated 90s movie. Another 4K I forgot to mention. I'm going to move the section here. But this is The Matrix. Love this film. Have not seen the sequels. Haven't heard anything really good about them other than I've seen some scenes from it, and everyone that says, like, just watch these scenes and you'll kind of get the gist of it. But no, I love this film. I think this is, to me, it's one of those overly reference filmed or overly kind of, I don't know. I think a lot of people think this is a deeper story, or I don't know, more like a complex story. But to me, or like a lot of the like red pill and blue pill and all that shit, like it's been heavily like taken over. But my theories, and from what the directors, is that this is about like being trans and breaking the matrix, breaking out of our binary system, and so I think this is a very interesting film, good action film. Keanu, one of Keanu's best. Saving Patrick Ryan, Saving Private Ryan. Spielberg film. Watched it when I was younger. You know, pretty brutal, but also not really my favorite war film. It kind of, I feel like, some ways glorifies it and is not, I don't know, just not the best. Not the biggest Spielberg, especially his later films. The Usual Suspects, I've not seen it, heard good things. Pacific Rim, Guillermo del Toro, kind of basic, kind of average action flick, or sci-fi action flick, I guess. Maybe that should be in the sci-fi section. Point Break, love this film. This is a great film, directed by Catherine Bigelow. She was dating James Cameron, and she's gone on to create some other good films, but this is to me easily the best film. So quotable. Love the Swayze. Love Keanu in this one too. He's great in this one, and you know, very 90s. Really fun too. Bank robbery films to me is one of the best genres of films you can make, and also that he loves skydiving, and it's just such a good one. Live Die Repeat. This is also the film that has like 3 different titles. Bombed terribly. Have not seen it. Don't know if I'll like it. A lot of people say it's good. It's better than it should be. You know, Tom Cruise movie. Blade Runner. Again, I've said I've not seen this movie. Tried to watch it when I was younger. Turned it off. Just couldn't really get into it. I'll probably like it now that I'm older and have better taste in film. But you know, I don't know. I'm building up to it. I don't really love Ridley Scott's work. Alien is good. I really do like Alien, and the slow burn aspect of it. But I don't know. A lot of his films, I'm kind of not really a fan. I'm basically more of like I really love Gladiator. That's kind of where I'm at. And Aliens to me is a superior film to Alien in all ways. It made it an awesome action sci-fi film, with some of the best kills, and to me, the scene I'll never forget is seeing the mother of the Xenomorphs for the first time. That is such a well crafted scene, and what it builds up in, I think is just great. This is also probably one of the best modern day trilogies. This is a Planet of the Apes trilogy. For me, I think War was actually the best, which is surprising. A lot of times the third one is not the best. Dawn is really good, not as good as the third one, and Rise is good, but I kind of more of like, if you skip the first 45 minutes, because it has this very boring, cheesy, like almost this is such a kind of a strange film to reference, but Polly Want a Cracker. It's kind of almost like it felt like that movie for the first like 45 minutes to 50 minutes, but after that, when they break out and stuff, it's really good. Training Day, love this film, hate the ending. The ending to me brought me out of this film, ruined what could have been an amazing, great film, but obviously this film is meant to really show off Denzel Washington as an actor, and yeah, he does a great job, and Ethan Hawke does a great job too. The Warriors, great film, really fun, late 70s, cult film, I guess you could say, but no, overall just fun. You know, I love the costumes in this film. This is the director's cut, so it has those kind of like weird comic book transitions to it, which I don't really think it was needed, but I liked the film. Mad Max, one of the best films of the 2010s, easily. Really well done action film. Also one of the greatest reboots of film ever. To take a franchise that they haven't made a movie for like 30 years, the original director comes back to do it. Very impressive. This film I watched recently, I really enjoyed it. It tells the story of, I know it's not, I've heard it's not the most accurate, I'm trying to remember, George Hung. And he basically his rise into becoming one of the biggest cocaine dealers in the 70s and 80s. And it's a great job, and Johnny Depp does an excellent performance in it. And no, it's a fun movie. I don't think it's a movie you can't really base. You can't write assignment off of it because it's not the most accurate story. But who cares? And I think it also it talks a lot of interesting stuff about the drug system and doing all that stuff. Where it's like he wanted to just sell weed, but what ended up happening is he went to cocaine. But Commando, have seen this one for the first time, and this is an excellent classic. Nothing too deep or special about it, but nevertheless a very fun and like well done action flick. It's like an hour and a half. Breeze goes by, really fun sets, and Arnold, of course, has so many quotable lines in that. This is a film that I bought twice, and I haven't even seen it once. Boondock Saint. I heard it's really good. I heard it's really weird. And Willem Dafoe's in it. And want to see it, not seen it, bought it twice by accident. Next we got Lethal Weapon. This is Mel Gibson's, I think, first big movie, or really put him on the map. Heard this is a really excellent just franchise in general, and it's nice too. It's like in easy order. Lethal Weapon 1, 2, 3, 4. Like they don't have any stupid titles or changes to it. But I have not seen this. Want to see it. Kind of created that cool like police partnership kind of thing, and Shane Black, he directed it. He made Predator and stuff, so I definitely want to check that one out. Grand Piano. This is directed by the guy who made Whiplash and La La Land. This is a this is a kind of a throwback action movie to me, where it just doesn't have to be part of some big franchise or some big IP or a reboot of a TV show. It's just a fun concept where this piano player who has been a few years out of the scene and has not played in a while because of a big mistake that he made in his last performance, and he was so embarrassed and shot over it. And then basically this is his comeback performance, and then he gets in his wire that if you miss one note during this performance, you will die. There's a high-powered sniper rifle on you, and the movie picks up from there and has use of like classical music and just so much fun stuff. Lord of War. This is another one of those based on a true story, drug criminal stories, but this is a really good one and really fun performance by Nicolas Cage. Jared Leto's in it too. He's okay. Ethan Hawke's in it pretty good. But to me, comparably to Blow, I'm like, there's very similar movies. It feels like I'm probably more on. I kind of probably like this movie a little bit more. I guess because actually, yeah, it's like I'm saying drugs, but he sold weapons. I'm stupid here, but yeah, I remember. Yeah, oh my god, I feel like an idiot right now. But yeah, this is had a lot of cool. Interesting stuff, and it's compelling to kind of see the two sides where he's not selling drugs, which a lot of people automatically deem as wrong, but like weapons, which most people do, but when it comes to war and things like that, so it has a lot of compelling things, and like the war machine and everything like that. I guess these are sticking together. I didn't actually realize I actually had Gladiator just on Blu-ray, so I'll probably get rid of that Troy Gladiator double feature thing. Love Gladiator, epic film, and easily the best Russell Crowe. He's a shitty-ass actor, but he's good in this one. Stephen Chow's Kung Fu Hustle. I've heard this is a really funny, batshit, stupid karate movie, and I've heard that it's nothing that is insane or like really crazy, but yeah, I want to check this out and see for myself. All right, continuing on in the action section. This is a stupid franchise, but I enjoy certainly elements of it, and that's the Fast and Furious movies. Easily number 5 is my favorite. Number 6 was the first one I ever watched in the movie or the franchise. But Fast 5 is my favorite, even though it's a complete ripoff of Ocean's 13. And the first trilogy, I don't like the second one. I haven't seen the third one. I know Liam is killing me to watch it, so we're actually talking about starting a podcast, so that could be coming up in a future video. We'll keep you noted. Italian Job. This is like a remake of a 70s or 60s movie, I believe. Don't know if it's as good as the original. I haven't seen the original, so I don't really know. I've heard some decent stuff from it. It's like a bank robbery movie, fun crime movie, I guess. Speed, excellent movie. This is kind of the same thing with a Grand Piano, is that it's really just that fun. It's an action movie that's sparked from an interesting concept, and not just you got to keep this bus 55 above and keep it going. And it gives you that adrenaline, gives you that anxiety, kind of leaves you questioning who's going to win in the end, kind of thing. And of course, Keanu is like perfect for these kind of roles. And I guess Sandra Bullock's kind of mends that movie. Casino Royale. This is one of the most highly renowned 007 movies, James Bond movies. I've only seen Skyfall, or Skyfall, not Spyfall. But Casino Royale, I've heard, is like the best of the. Oh my God, what's his name? Daniel Craig. 007 movies. So want to see it, want to check it out, but haven't. The Ocean's 11 trilogy. I haven't actually seen 12 or 13. I've heard they're just kind of lesser of the first one. I absolutely really love the first one. Have not seen it in a while, but I'm guessing it still, to me, will probably hold up. I just love the ensemble cast. I love the whole story of it, the way that it's edited, the way that it all comes down. I love that trilogy. I love those movies. Or, not trilogy, sorry. I love the movie, Oceans. Green Zone, this is made by the guy who directed Born Supremacy and Ultimatum. That's the only reason why I got it. Matt Damon. I think this is more of a military kind of movie, but I want to check it out, see if I like it. John Wick. I did not realize how many Keanu Reeves movies I own, but I do own a lot. John Wick. I loved this movie when it came out. It was really felt like revolutionary at a time when action movies were getting quite schlockish and they were falling into shaky cam and basically using that as a crutch to not have very good choreographed action. But this movie really changed that and said, like, no, we're going to show you all these great fights and action and not just cheap out by just making everything shaky, because that's a lot easier. So I love this movie. I have not seen it since it came out, basically. But, and also, too, it's like action movies don't need crazy concepts. This is a story about a man getting his dog back. And that's beautiful, and you don't really need more than that to it. The Fighter, this okay movie. I really only like Christian Bale in this movie. I'm not a Mark Wahlberg fan. And I think this was it says 7 Oscar nominations. This is one of those movies that was really overglazed by the Oscars. And it's just because of the story that they're telling is probably Oscar worthy if you do a really good and artful job of it. But this film, not really that. And if it wasn't for Christian Bale, this would be an unwatchable movie. Insomnia, this is a Christopher Nolan movie. I guess I probably should leave it in the Christopher Nolan section. Not seen it, heard it's good. Has Robin Williams and Al Pacino in it. So, that compels me, obviously. I'm a huge fan of Pacino and the stuff I've seen him in. And Robin Williams is really good in serious roles. So I'm compelled to see it. I have not seen it yet. The Town. I really like this movie. Another one of those bank robbery films. I need to get Dog Day Afternoon. That's on my list to get. But no, this is a really good one. Boston movie. Way too long though, but nevertheless still really fun Boston movie. The Wrestler. I love this film. I'm a fan. I would say I'm a very casual fan of pro wrestling because I'm not too deep into it, but I still respect the hell out of it. Still love it, and still think it's a very interesting sport / kind of cultural thing. And Mickey Rourke does a great job in this movie. This is oh my god, I can't remember his name. Oh my god, Darren Aronofsky, right? And the way it was written, I also love a big fan. That was written by the guy who wrote this movie. But yeah, so much of it, this movie was so good, and definitely a movie that I'll continue to watch and continue to get stuff from. The IP Man trilogy, don't know much about these movies. But I remember this guy, the actors here. He was in Rogue One, and I really love it. He was easily my favorite part of Rogue One, and I've heard these are decent or good enough, like karate action flicks. I don't know if they're from China or if it's Japanese. I think it says Mandarin, so that would be Chinese. But yeah, want to check these out. Want to see what it's like. I like foreign movies, so always got to keep yourself wanting to watch new stuff and challenge yourself. Avatar. I don't know. I didn't watch the movie in theaters, and this is like one of those movies that everyone's like, you have to watch in theaters. I do have a projector now, so I could watch it on the projector. It's a neat digibook. I remember at this time I was buying so many damn Blu-rays that my mom said, like, you're not getting Blu-rays anymore, and I lied to her, and I said this was a book. This was a book about the making of Avatar, but it wasn't. But yeah, the ride at Disney World was pretty fun, so I'll give it that. All right, we finally have made it to the final section. If you are still here, if you are still watching, thank you for putting up with this much rambling. All right, Pineapple Express. This is my favorite stoner comedy. This is an excellent film. Slightly too long, but nevertheless, James Franco, Seth Rogen, and just really fun. It's like very actiony, which is you wouldn't expect from a stoner comedy. But to me, what I love about it, it plays the best with the idea of the paranoia feeling when you're on weed in like a funny way. It's not going to scare you if you're smoking or whatever during it. But no, I just love that it's like basically the worst possible outcome that your paranoia thoughts could happen while smoking. But no, excellent movie. Recommend it. Hangover. I kind of forgot I had this. I don't know if I'm going to watch it. My friend really loves it. And so you never know. It could be I could really like it too. But, just kind of one of those overplayed movies. Crazy Stupid Love. This is like a very well acclaimed like rom-com. So, you always got to have these on the shelf just in case, when you have a romantic night or something like that. Put on this movie and you'll still be at least entertained by it. And I know it has a really good cast in it. I don't really know if it is because I haven't seen it, but maybe it is. Anchorman. This is, of course, a classic. I love this film. Obviously, really crazily referenced film. But, Will Ferrell does an excellent job in it. It's a role built for him. And the ensemble cast is great. And, just an enjoyable film. Jerry Maguire. Have not seen this film. Always heard a lot of good stuff about it, but I don't think it's, to me, going to be that amazing of a film for my guess. I'm not the biggest Tom Cruise guy in the world, but I want to see it. Jojo Rabbit. I love this film when it came out. Just a very dark comedy, dark World War II comedy, and definitely a bold decision as a director to cast yourself as Hitler, but it still paid off. It still worked out, and I really enjoyed this film. Have not seen it since watching it for the first time, but I loved it. Next we got Propaganda. Sorry, American Sniper. Really, I want to watch this film just because I might make a video on it. But yeah, everything I've heard, and I know this is a very common thing with Navy SEALs, is that they're usually really good liars, especially if they want to sell books or make movies. And that's all I've heard about this movie, Clint Eastwood movie. Not pumped to see it, but it's important to see those kind of movies to criticize, Ghostbusters. I love this film, and this film should only be one movie. It shouldn't have a sequel. It shouldn't have a trilogy. It shouldn't have a saga. And I think it's kind of ruined the legacy of this film that those movies kind of take away from. But this is an excellent comedy, so well done. Amazing cast, amazing effects. Everything about this movie I just adore and thinks it's great. Rush Hour. Never touch a black man's radio. I don't know. I haven't seen it in a while. It's probably an okay comedy. Groundhog's Day. I love this movie. Really fun movie. Great Bill Murray movie. Fun concept. And it just kind of leaves you, playing with that idea. Like, if that happened to you, what would you do? And there's nothing better when he's like just giving up at like pretending to keep this day going and just starts like yelling at people and screaming at people and doing things that you can never do or get away with. The Way Back, I love this. This is a very, very good coming of age film, and I just love this film. Steve Carell, tons of different people in here, like Steve Carell, Sam Rockwell, Maya Rudolph, Tawny Collette, just a lot of excellent people in this film, and just it really tells us a very kind of relatable story of just kind of a young teen who's moving to a town for the summer that he's not very well versed in and doesn't want to be there, and kind of finds himself after he finds a job at water park. And no, I just love this film. I adore this film. This is a great film. Bruno, a funny comedy. I don't think it's stuck in that like 2000s era of like gay humor or like straight people doing gay humor. And there's starts of that's quite dated, but there's also a lot of hilarious scenes from this. I prefer his other characters than Bruno. I think Bruno is kind of one of his lesser characters because it just is just a gay joke or just gay innuendos a lot of time. But there's still some really great scenes from this. Edge of 17, this is also another great coming-of-age comedy. Haley Steinfeld does a great job in it. Also, too, who else is in this? Woody Harrelson. Blake Jenner. I don't even the rest of the people. I don't really know if I can name off the top of my head. But no, I love this movie. Haley Steinfeld does a great job, and it just tells a relatable coming of age story of a girl at 17 is a very seminal age for a lot of people, and this film really captures that, and I recommend it. Step Brothers. This is probably my favorite Will Ferrell comedy. Really well referenced and used a lot. I know some people hate it, but I really enjoy it. I think it is kind of getting taken a bit to that extreme of like I'm getting sick of this movie now. But to me, if you just look at the movie itself, I still love it. This is a TV show, so I don't really know where to put this. But this is Louis. I've not even seen this whole thing. I know he's a controversial comedian now and stuff like that. But the few episodes I've seen from it, I've really enjoyed, and I know he actually is a very solid director and has a lot of interesting things to say about film. Talladega Nights, another Will Ferrell comedy, good, enjoyable, and to me similar to Step Brothers. I think of these as really good comedies for what they are, but these aren't my style of comedies. I'm much more of John Waters, Happiness. Those kind of twisted, darker comedies. Across the Universe. I don't know if this is a comedy. I haven't even seen this movie. I don't really know why I got this. I think I kind of thought it was a different style movie, and then like reading up on it, I was like, no, I'll get to it someday. So definitely not on the high priority list. Do want to see it. I don't know if it's about is this the Beatles movie or about like the Beatles? Might be. I don't know. Rush. I guess some of these are not the most like harshest category. I think now we're kind of getting into more like music and sports and stuff movies. This is a great one of my favorite music documentaries. If you love Rush and you love Canadian music and the history of Canadian music, this is a great one. Really tells you the story of Rush, and I know obviously it's sad. Now he has passed away. Obviously the drummer, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But no, if you didn't know much of the story, even if I watched this movie without really knowing much about Rush, and it really got me into Rush and showing stuff. I'm not the biggest fan, but still, really cool way to find their music and learn about their story. We Are Marshall. This does not look good. Don't know why I own this. I guess I was like, I want a football movie, and I found this one. I think this looks cheesy as hell, and I don't know why they make a movie about Marshall. Like, what if Rocky? I love this film. I think everyone loves this film, and I own it twice. I love it so much I own it twice. Or wait, sorry, I got them mixed up. Rocky Balboa, Rocky. Sorry, I'm sorry. My head is mush right now. No, Rocky. I love this film. 70s film. Could have been basically not seen at all, and he wouldn't have had the career that Stallone ended up going on. And just a great story about an underdog. Created that real underdog story that I love. I don't know if it really created it, but it really, to me, popularized it. Rocky Balboa. I haven't actually seen all the Rocky movies, but I think I bought this because Aviel said this was that last good Rocky movie. And I guess another kind of part of the Rocky movies, Creed. I have not seen this one either. I know, but I want to see it. I do really like Michael B. Jordan, and I heard Stallone is really good in it, and want to see it. I know it's strict. It has a cool style too of how they filmed. It's definitely a very a huge upgrade in how they're able to film a lot of these boxing matches. I think for me, I kind of thought that they might have gone like an MMA way, just because that's kind of really grown bigger than boxing now. But you never know. All right, to the last stack. This is the last stack of Blu-rays that I'm going to talk about today. The Wedding Singer, another Adam Sandler movie. Don't know if I've seen this one. I think I did when I was a kid. Heard this was one of his comedies. But, you know, I don't really love Adam Sandler, so I'm not really itching to watch that. I guess I own it. Greenberg, this is a Noah Baumbach movie. Interestingly enough, it's not in here. You know why? Because this is the last movie that killed my Xbox One S. I had it in there. I watched this movie, really enjoyed it. Thought it was a great story, and Ben Stiller was really great in it, funny. But it would not come out of my machine. So this is broken my Xbox One S, which was my 4K player. I have a new one now, but so that's where I'll always remember this film is the one that killed my player. Footloose. This is actually really a lot better than you'd expect from this movie. Great soundtrack, a lot of great original songs, obviously. But just really funny idea in it, like just the idea of a town that's, and I know there is some really conservative towns that are this batshit where they do have no, dancing is a sin, you can't do that, and it's just fun to see Kevin Bacon, and he does an excellent job of hitting all those moves and dancing, and John Lithgow is hilariously evil in that movie. This should be in the horror section. I I couldn't believe, why is this film on Blu-ray? Why does this film have a Blu-ray? That's just a unique idea to begin with. But, you know, I want to get it just because it's for the memes, to watch it, obviously to appreciate Pacino's performance in it, you know. I'm a film buff. I like Kino. I'm a Kino guy, you know. Now we're going into Christmas movies. Christmas Vacation, love this movie. Fun Christmas movie, one of my favorite. Bad Santa, this is a Christmas movie I haven't seen till this Christmas. Loved it. My favorite Christmas film I've watched of that season, I guess. Just love it. Takes a piss out of it. Dark as hell. Gritty as hell. And to me, oh my god, Billy Bob Thornton is awesome. He's the perfect nonchalant kind of guy. Alright, next we got Die Hard trilogy. I only watched the first one. I haven't seen the third one, which I have heard is good. But Die Hard to me is my favorite Christmas film. Love it, love it, love it. And the rest I don't know about because I haven't seen them. Home Alone, good Christmas movie, but it's definitely falling into this category now of it's getting sickening to continue to hear about it and talk about it. Elf, again, another one of those movies that, and actually this year it seems like a lot of people have kind of slowed down on talking about this movie, which kind of makes me want to appreciate it more. But yeah, this is a good Christmas movie, and Will Ferrell does a great job. But, you know, it's kind of in the line of those overly talked about, overly referenced movies. Superbad, one of my favorite comedies, one of my favorite coming of age stories, and yeah, everything about this movie is great. I love this movie ever since I've seen it a few times now. Kind of the ending kind of sucks on this movie. It's not really well done. Or it should the story just needs to kind of come a lot better and together. The ending I kind of found was nah, just was not as it didn't put a tight bow on a great story. But yeah, you gotta love this movie, endlessly quotable. Enough said. I haven't seen this film, only got it because it was a spotlight movie, but I'm realizing how common this movie is, so I don't really know how good it will be. But you know, James Gandolfini and what's her name? From Seinfeld, Leanne. Funny people. Judd Apatow, not my favorite director. Very self-indulgent. This film was 2.5 hours long. I don't really know if I'm going to get around to watching it. I might. Some people say this is Adam Sandler's best film. I don't know why. So many people. I'm just confused why I own this many Adam Sandler movies. This is more of a question of my own sanity. Beer League. I'm a huge Howard Stern and Artie Lang fan. That's why I own this movie. Don't think it's a very good comedy or movie, but you know it was okay, and you know it was funny on Stir, and like this became the punchline to basically anything that Artie said, which I liked, and I think this was when I think this was like because he had a lot of many interesting periods of his life, but I think he was either really coked out on this movie or he was on heroin, I guess, or he was either like sober for this period. I forget what it was. And last and not least, Juno, which I did watch for the first time this year, and I absolutely loved it. Another great Fox Searchlight movie. Michael Cera, at the time Ellen Page, but now Elliot Page, of course, and they do a great job in this role. And it's just like it's honestly like this would be a great movie to show someone who is really pro-life, even if you're pro-life. I know I don't agree with pro-life sentiment, but to me it is like it's like a fun story. It's another one of those comedies that deals with a really dark subject of teen pregnancy and that kind of stuff. But no, I just love so much about it. It also has a really good soundtrack too. It has that quintessential indie, guitar 80s soundtrack. But yeah, really great movie. And that's all of them. I didn't count how many damn movies I have. I'll be curious to see. If you did, that'll be a thank you. You did a service for me. So this has been very long, and thank you for watching this and putting up with this. I appreciate it so much. I'm going to continue to make some more videos, so if you enjoy, hit the sub button. Catch you later.